Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, authorities in Fayette and Wharton County make a cocaine bust worth millions in street value.
8 people were killed in a 2-vehicle crash in the Rio Grande Valley.
And multiple propositions were passed in last night's election, but issues rose with the new voting machines.
We are setting the stage for the big change in the weather program. Today we are on the mild side. Tomorrow we'll start off in the 80s, but by Friday, boy, it's going to be cold and windy around here. We'll have all your weather details coming up.
And the bi-district round of playoffs start tomorrow. We have a preview of some of the top teams in the area. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. Monday, law enforcement officers arrested 26-year-old Tracy Hicks Jr. He faces drug charges and fraud charges. He's at the Victoria County Jail in lieu of bonds totaling to $50,000.
The Jackson County Sheriff's Office is looking for 32-year-old Jonathan Hester of Edna. He's wanted on assault charges. If you can help, call 361-782-3541. While working a joint drug ban operation with the Wharton Police Department, Fayette County Sheriff's deputies stopped a heavy machinery trailer on U.S. Highway 69. Authorities say they found 100 kilos of cocaine with a street value of about $10 million.
8 people died in a 2-vehicle crash in Zavala County, about 20 minutes south of Uvalde. One of the vehicles is possibly tied to a human smuggling operation. DPS says the Honda driver from Houston, suspected of human smuggling, crashed head-on into an SUV, causing the vehicle to burst into flames. The driver and passenger in the SUV, 67-year-old Jose Lerma and 65-year-old Isabel Lerma of Georgia, died. The investigation remains ongoing. A Houston restaurant owner believes she was targeted because of an Israeli flag hanging outside her building. Taste of Tel Aviv was broken into early Wednesday morning. The owner says the burglar bypassed cash to destroy some of her Jewish prayer books. Houston police reported on X, formerly known as Twitter, that after an investigation, it appears the burglary was not motivated by hate, but this investigation is still ongoing.
Let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, another warm day today, but when does everything change?
Well, it'll be as soon as tomorrow night. As a matter of fact, by morning, much of the rain will start entering into West Texas. By afternoon, it starts spreading down into our area. So I expect rain about this time tomorrow night. After midnight Thursday night, then the cold north wind blows in, and we're looking for much colder and much wetter conditions for about 4 or 5 days of dreary stuff. So we'll be talking about that coming up a little bit later on. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. The Calhoun County ISD $25 million bond was passed by 158 votes in yesterday's bond election, and the city of Port Lavaca was recognized by the Texas Municipal League for its Earth Day cleanup event. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com.
The Victoria County Elections Office says it had 2 issues with the new voting machines Tuesday. They say the vendors are working on those issues. Apparently, the DS300 tabulator would not open or had an error of a bad boot drive. Poll workers had instructions on opening and closing the polls in that event, but they were still learning the new systems. The new machines use a 2-step process, so when you vote, your vote is stored electronically and on paper to maximize accuracy. When you vote, the ballot prints on paper, then you insert the ballot inside a nearby tabulator.
The estimated voter turnout for Tuesday's constitutional amendment election is 14.4% of registered voters. Texas Secretary of State Jane Nelson reports this is the highest turnout for a constitutional election since 2005, with more than 2.5 million Texans casting a ballot. The Texas Tribune reports Texas homeowners and businesses will get potentially thousands of dollars cut from their property tax bills after voters approved Proposition 4, which was approved by over 80% of voters.
Texans voted to approve Proposition 9, which will add billions to the Texas retired teachers' pension. 84% of Texas voters were in favor of Proposition 9. The proposition would send $3.4 billion to the teacher retirement system of Texas. Over a quarter of the system's beneficiaries receive less than $1,000 each month. Proposition 9 will address this by providing an increase of up to 6%. With the passing of Proposition 7 by Texas voters Tuesday, the Public Utility Commission announced on Wednesday it will run the Texas Energy Fund, providing grants and loans to finance the construction, maintenance, modernization, and operation of electric facilities in Texas. The fund will also provide funding for the installation of backup power for critical facilities in public health and safety.
And with that, here is your viewer poll tonight. The question is, what proposition got you to the polls? According to our results, it looks like the one with the highest percentage stands at home tax at 49%. Thank you for voting tonight. Visit us tomorrow for our latest viewer poll. Now, the Victoria Veterans Council announced the Veterans Day Parade this Saturday is canceled due to inclement weather. Instead, a ceremony will take place at the VFW Post 4146 at 2001 Lova Drive at 11 a.m., followed by a luncheon.
This evening, more than 50 people showed up to that VFW post, but it was not for just normal burger night. Tonight, the VFW honored and served the veterans and their spouses a free meal in observance of Veterans Day Saturday. Girl Scouts, first responders, EMTs, and police officers were also on hand to educate people on their craft.
You know, for all the veterans out there, from the VFW Post 4146, we want to thank you all for your service and for everything you did. Thank you very much.
The VFW lost a great one recently as our hearts and prayers from all of the community go to the friends and family of former Navy Chief Thomas Francis Vatter. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. 2 arrests were made in the investigation of a funeral home in Colorado. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, the names of the suspects accused in improperly storing over 100 human remains.
Also ahead, a transgender student loses a lead role in a play, and his father says it's because of his gender.
Air Force veteran John Tate is your military hero for the month of October. Tate was born in Freeport and moved to Victoria when he was 6 years old. All of Tate's brothers ended up joining the military as well.
I had three brothers. My oldest brother joined the Navy because Dad was in the Navy during the war. My younger brother joined the Marine Corps. He liked hitting people. And my baby brother partied until the Army drafted him and sent him to Nam. But I was smart. I joined the Air Force because I wanted an education. And I got it the first day of boot camp it started.
Tate was talented with engines and was a mechanic, so he figured that's what he would do in the service, but to his surprise, he would end up doing something a whole lot different.
I thought I would get jet engine school or diesel school, but I scored too high on the entry test, so top 10%, they sent me to weather school.
So he would go on to become a meteorologist for the Air Force and ended up loving it.
But I loved it. I really did. When I got into it, it's very interesting. I love it. Today, I hear thunder. I'm outside looking, you know.
Tate almost was sent over to fight in Vietnam, but since he had 2 brothers over there already, the service gave him the option to go elsewhere.
I said, well, what are my choices? And one of them was in Newfoundland. Another one was an ice station in North Pole. And another one was Alaska. And I said, don't you have anything warmer? Yeah, take the 2-year tour in Puerto Rico. We're staging B-52s out of Puerto Rico to Vietnam.
Stationed in Puerto Rico, he was sent all over.
We did rocket experiments there in Puerto Rico. It's not secret anymore, but and I got sent, like I said, in several different places, different airplanes. It was interesting, but they were starving us to death. We didn't get paid anything back then.
His official title was Weather Observer and covered a lot of territory.
Every hour you transmitted an observation, and if the weather changed, you transmitted a special observation. And it went out all over the world. Oh, wow. On teletype. So that was, in a nutshell.
Tate had to endure some tough moments.
Yeah, the first time we pulled a corpse out, all burnt to crap. Another one I pulled out, he'd been in the water for about 3 days. And the fish and the crabs had got to him. Things like that stick you. You'll never forget that. But and how hot the flames are when, you know, when that jet fuel starts burning.
And his return home from the Vietnam War wasn't a warm welcome.
Walking down the jetway, I got a duffel bag on my shoulder, a B-4 bag in my other hand, and people were cussing me and spitting on my uniform. And I could not believe this was the same country. And it bothered me, so I put all that stuff in the closet.
Once back in the Crossroads, Tate worked various jobs from dealerships, shipyards, to driving trucks for his brother and Union Carbide. He and his wife have been happily married for 41 years, and he says their grandkids and great-grandkids keep them busy.
Yeah, until Christmas time, that cost a fortune, man.
He's also a carpenter. He's even built his own house and likes to fish and hunt.
We go out there whenever we feel, you know, we need to get close to nature. Out in the middle of nowhere, you can actually hear the wind blow.
He's also very proud of his 20 years as commander of the Victoria County Funeral Detail, serving any veteran from the Crossroads to be sure they're at their funeral.
I'm ambivalent about my time here as commander of the funeral detail. I cannot say I enjoyed it. I can say it gave me a sense of fulfillment. And the guys who were on that detail, every one of them were on there as long as I was, some of them longer. And they were steady, they were reliable, and they were good men, and they did a good job. I can never say enough about the Victoria County Funeral Detail.
So thank you, John Tate, for your dedication to your country and all of the time served. Adam Seibel, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
Authorities are still identifying human remains reportedly stored improperly at 2 Colorado funeral homes. John and Carrie Halford own the Return to Nature facilities. They are just 3 hours south of Denver. They face extradition after being arrested in Oklahoma. They were arrested on charges linked to the discovery of 190 sets of decaying remains at one of their facilities. Some were apparently there for 4 years, with bodies dated back to 2019.
Individuals are being identified through fingerprints, dental records, and medical hardware. Once we have exhausted these methods, we will move on to DNA testing if necessary. I would like to state that every individual removed from the Return to Nature facility has been treated with the utmost care and respect.
It's unclear if the Halfords have an attorney, but authorities are currently identifying the remains and contacting families.
A recent analysis shows that if you get migraines and cluster headaches, there's a chance you'll probably get them at the same time of day.
Migraine and cluster headaches have strong links to our body's circadian rhythm, which governs our 24-hour sleep-wake cycle. It's tightly linked to the light during the day and the dark at night. That's part of the reason why getting a good night's sleep can help treat these headaches, and why people who get them can be sensitive to light. It also helps explain a new analysis from researchers at the University of Texas Health Science Center, which found that migraine headaches most often happen the same times of day, in the evenings and following seasonal patterns, increasing between the months of April and October. The pain and other symptoms associated with migraines and cluster headaches can often be debilitating. Medications to treat migraines work best if they're given before the pain starts. So these new findings might help a lot of people manage their condition better. With this Medical Minute, I'm Liz Landers, ABC News.
The Minnesota Supreme Court has refused to bar former President Donald Trump from the state's primary ballot under the insurrection clause in the U.S. Constitution. The court dismissed a lawsuit citing the Civil War era provision that sought to prevent Trump from running for the White House again. The decision only applied to the state's primary. It left open the possibility that plaintiffs could try to block Trump from the general election ballot next November. An Oklahoma father says his son was recently kicked out of his high school play.
And he says it's all because of his gender.
Senior Max Hightower has been a member of Bearcat Theater all throughout high school.
He puts in the effort.
This hard work paid off when he landed the lead male role in the play Oklahoma about 2 weeks ago.
It was a beautiful day.
But the excitement was cut short. Just days later, the Sherman High School principal called his father, Philip Hightower, to tell him about a new policy.
Actors and actresses could only play a role that was the same gender they were assigned at birth.
Stripping the lead role from Max.
I was devastated.
Hightower says his son previously played historically female supporting characters.
But they allowed Max to dress up as a male.
Something Hightower says has been a part of theater since the start.
All kinds of actors have played all kinds of parts. I mean, I grew up watching Miss Doubtfire.
Hightower thought losing the role would crush his son.
I expected him to be crying, but no, Max is a fighter.
In a statement, the district says the whole show needs to be postponed because of sexual content and profanity, adding there is not a policy on how students are assigned to roles. But for this production, the gender of the roles as identified in the script will be used for casting. This may not apply to future productions. The Hightowers are now determined to get Max back into the role and keep Sherman Theater a safe space for all students.
I want every kid to be recognized, noticed, and allowed to be themselves.
The new date for the production will be around mid-January. In Sherman, Aaron Pillay, News 12.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record. Mayor Sarah Postmeyer signs a proclamation making November National Home Care and Hospice Month in Cuero. And a Veterans Day ceremony will be held this Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Post Home Hunt in Cuero. Or rather the Post Home in Cuero. Plus, Hunt Elementary collects much needed items for the Cuero Pet Adoption Center. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
And good evening, everybody. Right about now, we're at 69 degrees, not exactly cool. We got up to 86 today, way above our 76 average. The thing is, everything's going to come crashing down by Friday morning. We haven't had any rain in November. Gives our year to 31-24, but I'm thinking we may get over 2 inches of rain in the next 7 days. We'll be talking about it coming up after this. Well, good evening, everybody. We are getting ready. We are seeing all the elements necessary for this big change in our weather pattern. First of all, you see this Pacific moisture coming up from the southwest. That is getting all over Texas, and it's getting thicker and thicker. And then you see right here in Colorado, the deepening low is already producing snow there. So this is the cold pocket that will move down into Texas and help push that cold front down into our area. So everything's right on schedule. And if you don't believe that, believe this. It's 69 for us, 77 right now in Corpus Christi. It's 50 in Amarillo, where the frontal system blew through about 6 o'clock today. So yes, they're getting strong northerly winds up to about 35 miles an hour. Also from the Pacific, we have remnants of a couple of previous hurricanes, and now that moisture is also getting caught up in the upper winds. And where do you think it's going? It's going to us, and we think that that's going to enhance our rain chance for the next couple days. Now, a winter rain is usually fairly light. It's sort of a, I don't call it heavy rain. It's a steady kind of drizzly stuff. Well, this is going to be enhancing the rainfall totals that we get over the next couple of days. And get a load of this. This is Future Tracker. Tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. we're going to have rain out in West Texas, and then by 4 p.m. That would be Thursday, it starts getting real close to our area. And in fact, I think that even by sundown we'll start picking up some rain activity here, at least in the crossroads. Then Friday morning it's going to get rather heavy, as a matter of fact. And here's the tricky part. It's not going to blow through and clear off in a day or two. This is going to hang for about 4 days of almost continuous rainfall and cloud cover. And because of that tropical stuff, the rainfall totals could be rather interesting and impressive. In fact, we'll take a look at Future Tracker and we'll go 72 hours out into all the way to Saturday. And you can see how the crossroads is looking for 1 to 2 inches of rain, maybe a little bit more even down south. So it's going to be interesting to watch this complete change from the last couple of days here in South Texas. Tonight on the mild side, getting down to 68 for us. Tomorrow we'll get up to about 82 early in the day. Then by sundown, the rain showers start moving in, and then we'll watch and wait to see how all this keeps going over the area. Here's our frontal system. Like I said, it'll get here around midnight. By Friday morning, we'll have a fairly gusty north wind and then quite a bit of cloud cover and rain on top of us. So here's the way it looks like. Day planner for tomorrow, not bad in Port Lavaca, starting off at 73, getting up to 77. Overcast skies pretty much all day long, still a south wind. And then we go to Cuero, and they start off at 69, get up to about 74, but the shower activity should be maybe even as early as 4 o'clock. So the farther west you are, or northwest, I guess San Antonio will be raining by noontime, and then it'll roll down here. So we're going to watch that. So here's the next 7 days. It gets very interesting. 82 tomorrow, then the front at midnight. I put an alert day for you Friday because not only is it going to be raining all day, it's going to be very windy, up to about 30 miles an hour, and it's only going to be 62. And that's the night of the big football game, East meets West. So that's very important. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday continue on the cloudy, wet, and windy side. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we've got a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Gino with sports.
Thanks, Mac. Yep, East will be at Memorial Stadium and West will be up north near San Antonio. But we also have big high school games featuring Cuero and Refugio. That's coming up after the break. At a Crossroads, the Refugio Bobcats are the highest ranked team in the Crossroads area and have high aspirations of making it back to the dance later in December. The Bobcats have only lost one game this season, but other than that have dominated it all year. Refugio made it to the state title game last season where they fell 55-27 against the Hawley Bearcats. Junior quarterback Keelan Brown said every victory, including a state title, would not be enough for him. Brown said he's trying to win state and go play at the next level.
That's really what's on our mind. So if we don't get that ring, then it's all for nothing. All that we did from the beginning to now, it don't mean nothing. You know, so every year in August, we have one goal, and that's to go get a ring. And we're going to go get that ring.
The Bobcats are a year older and more experienced than last season. This group has been playing with each other since the playground days. Senior receiver Kai Whitmire was not on the championship team back in 2019, but he's eager to be one of the best teams to go through Refugio, but they have to win it all in order to be up for discussion. Another team that has a winning tradition is the Cuero Gobblers, and sports reporter Zach Brown sat down with the Gobblers about how they can bring home their 5th state title.
It's playoff time in Texas for teams like the district champion Cuero Gobblers. Making it here is just the first step to getting where they really want to go, but they know how quickly things can change. Last year, they were just minutes away from being ousted in the by-district round and a few plays away from making it to state. This year, they want to finish the job. That means hitting the ground running beginning Thursday.
Everybody you play from here on out has a chance to win, and if you don't get it done, then you're going to go home.
The road to a state championship begins in Pflugerville for an eager Cuero Gobbler team that has made it to the state semis the last 2 years. But many outside of Cuero had a lot of questions as to whether or not they'd be ready for another year of dominance. The Gobblers responded by going undefeated in the regular season, using doubt as more fuel to the fire.
I think the fact that we are doubted, I think that, ruffle some feathers, and not being picked to win the region or do anything like that. I think we have something to prove to some people.
This year we came back and we all just bonded together as a team, and we feel good together and we trust each other.
Head coach Feacock says the new group of seniors did a great job of taking the reins of the program. Both sides of the football appear to be just as good as last year's team. Star QB Nataro jokes that the defense has bailed them out at times this year, but all jokes aside, that defense is a nightmare to opposing offenses.
On the defense side, we're just fast and physical. We like to force turnovers, and our saying is bend but don't break. Sometimes we give up yards, but as long as they don't score, they can't win.
Zach Brown, KVUE-TV 25, News Now Sports.
Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina, and stay with us. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather with Mac, plus Airbnb reveals their guest favorites list from around the world.
It's the end of pandemonium in our nation's capital. The last of the giant pandas at the National Zoo are heading back home to China. The 3 pandas boarded FedEx planes this afternoon to move to their new homes in the China Wildlife Conservation Association. Their departure comes after over 50 years of a successful giant panda conservation program between the U.S. and China. Today marking the first time in 23 years that the panda exhibit at the zoo is empty. With more than 7 million listings worldwide, finding that perfect Airbnb can be tough. But Airbnb has a list of guest favorites to choose from. The top 10 spots are located all around the world, including a tropical forest apartment in Brazil, a spot perfect for wine lovers in Italy, and a secluded desert home in California's Yucca Valley. When you go there, you won't be saying yucca. All of the guest favorites have an average rating of at least 4.9 stars. I just looked at the top Airbnb places in Texas, top 15, most in the Hill Country, and a lot of them in Wimberley and Fredericksburg. And I can tell why. Nice. Great place for that.
I go to Fredericksburg because you do the wine thing and you just go up and down the road.
Yes.
But it's also very pretty.
In a straight line?
No. I don't remember, actually. Anyway, folks, tomorrow we start off on the warm side. It'll get up to about 82 at noon, and then by evening I expect shower activity to start rolling in. The front comes in after midnight. By sunrise on Friday, it'll be a cold north wind, and our high on Friday is only 62. I'm calling it an alert day because you got to bundle up the kids in the morning, you got to take the dog out, and you got to find your coat too, because it's going to be cool.
Alrighty, thank you, Mac. Now, this rare blue diamond sold this week for more than $44 million, making it the most expensive sold at the auction this year. The Blue Royal is 17.6 carats. It's the largest of its kind. Christie says the bidding took 7 minutes, after which the diamond entered another private collection for the first time in 40 years. And that's a beautiful diamond for $44 million.
Yeah, you mean private collection like nobody else can see it?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, well, for $44 million, I guess.
It's exclusive.
You can put your own rules on it.
Yeah. Alrighty, thank you, Mac, and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina and Parker at 25 News Now Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.